Hey everyone, Bernardo Moya here, founder of The Best You, author of The Question. Today I'm excited. I've got another interview for my podcast, Inspiring People. Hey Adelaide, how are you? Adelaide Freeman.
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for having me today. I'm excited.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Let me do a quick introduction. So she's born and raised in Nashville. She's a middle child. I want to talk about that. She's a natural connector, encourager, motivator, and people person. Her passion is motivating their influencers to reach their own individual goals, which in turn hits and exceeds their client goals. Twillo Brand Influencers is an influencer marketing agency that is results orientated for both their clients and their influencers. When their influencers win, their clients win. Everyone wins. And I'm very excited to have a chat with you today. We've got a lot of things to discuss. Adelaide, now, when we were connected today, I saw that there was Margaret Freeman. So this must be her sister, but it's not. She has two names.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's a funny Southern thing that Southern mothers and fathers do, is that they name their children double names and then they go by their middle name. And it's great. It just confuses everyone. So Margaret Adelaide, but for short, you call me Adelaide.
Brilliant. So tell me, I always like talking to my guests about kind of like, the early years, what was school like? Well, what was general life for you, in your early years? What was it like? Were you good at school? Were you a good student? Were you a bit of a rebel? Tell us.
Oh, of course. I'm a middle child, so we're born rebels, right? It's funny. It's funny that you say that, you bring that up, because, as an entrepreneur, I think about this a lot. I promise you, I worked harder than anyone in the class. I worked so incredibly hard. I could outwork anyone. But guess what? Every single time I was such a poor test taker, BC student. BC student every single time growing up. And that was so incredibly tough for me. But you know what? It's all about, sometimes, some of the most successful entrepreneurs out there, they did not make straight A's. They did not graduate from Harvard. They did not make straight A's, but they just had the resiliency and the endurance to just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep going.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And funny enough, I found out I was dyslexic when we found out how dyslexic my kids were, because, my wife wasn't or isn't dyslexic. But I found out how dyslexic I was when we started seeing the challenges they were having studying. And then it all fell into place, because I struggled a lot to study. I had to do hours and hours and hours and hours to memorize things. And I didn't have a system or anything like that. So I struggled a lot. And when I found out all these amazing people that were dyslexic and did do well at school, I felt great as well, because I've always been very visual. So no, I get it. So tell me, being a middle child, now I've got three kids. I've got a middle child. I know what he was like. So what do you think it is?
It's funny because I have a lot of pride being a middle child. I almost changed my company name to Middle Child Marketing instead of Twillo Brand Influencers, but Middle Child Marketing. And the reason for that is because us middle children, we are excellent with people, and we're excellent with working with two different parties, party A, party B, in figuring out exactly what is party A's goals, what is party B's goals, and making sure that we can accomplish and we can fulfill both of those goals, help them to achieve both of those goals. So
one of the things I found with my middle one, which is Lucci, he was really outgoing, very bubbly, my eldest was a little bit kind of, he wanted to be good. He had to be Maxi Bueno, which was like Max, the good boy. And right. Lucci didn't care. He wanted to be the naughty boy. He wanted to be the one that came in with the soil in the house or squashed the banana against. So what is it with middle children? Because it is a common thing. It's just, I just love it.
It's something about, because we had to fight for attention. Maybe that's what it is. Because we don't get attention from maybe mom or dad. So we're like, we got to fight for it. And we know that we have to say, oh, by the way, middle children, we are excellent, not only with people, but we're excellent salesmen too. And so we know the right things to say sometimes, but sometimes the right things to say can get us in trouble as well. So, but yeah.
Well, so the reason I'm asking you is because obviously, you know, there's something with, you know, I believe that we all have a set of skills that, you know, we bring along as we grow. And obviously, you know, at the end, we become, you know, professionally to a degree, we use those skills to obviously kind of like go out there. And, you know, in some cases, not everyone becomes an entrepreneur, but those that do have these skills that they bring from their early years. So what got you then into kind of what you are now? Did you transition? Was there some kind of turning point into doing what you do now?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, it's funny that you say that because I got incredibly honest and authentic and real this morning over an Instagram post just on how my company began. And a huge part of my story is I was in New York City for a period of over 6 years. And I was originally in fashion, in design. And when I came to New York, I didn't have a job at all. And I spent the first 3 years of New York on, as I like to say, the unemployment roller coaster, back and forth from landing a freelance, them promising 6 to 8 months, and then they letting me go after 1 to 2 months. So spent back and forth on this unemployment roller coaster, finally did land a full-time job in fashion design as a fashion designer. And then, I mean, I was just so relieved. I was like, this is a steady paycheck. This is stability, finally, you know, something I hadn't had in so long. And a year into the job, one Thursday afternoon, they give me a call, 4:30 in the afternoon, and they say, Adelaide, pack up your things, go home. We don't need you anymore. And just like that, right back to being unemployed. But as I say, you know, this is a huge part of my story, is that back and forth unemployment, you know, almost really built the necessary skills, the right mindset, the resiliency, and the endurance to become a successful entrepreneur. And I mean, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful for that Thursday afternoon getting fired, because that completely changed the trajectory of my life.
And how old were you then?
Oh, I was, I want to say 25, 26, 25. Yeah.
25. And when did you go to New York? How old were you then?
I went to New York right after college, and I was 20.
Wow, that must have been a bit of a challenge. You know, New York's not an easy city.
Not an easy, especially when you don't know anyone and you don't have a job and you don't know anyone, and you're just, you know, you land in New York City and you're like,
I was going to say, so you didn't jump into a little pool, you just went into the big ocean and just jumped in the middle of it.
That's right.
Bring it on. Brilliant. I love that. Well, look, I mean, we all have, you know, I believe that, you know, that there's turning points in people's lives, and not for everyone, but I think normally it's the case where, you know, all of a sudden we get on the path of, you know, where we are. And then again, it can change, you know, and it's being open to that change. I think a lot of people get too stuck to where they live. They get too stuck to the job. They get too stuck to who they are, and they're not really experiencing life and really going out there. And I love I love the life of an entrepreneur. You know, I'm not masochistic, but kind of like, you know, I'm embracing the pandemic. Why? Because, hey, there's something to learn from this, you know.
Good point. Just like, you know, as I embraced being fired, being let go from my job, like, sometimes I really believe that it takes a massive change in our lives to really figure out, are we heading in a positive direction? Are we heading in a direction that's really benefiting and is going to be really fruitful in our lives? And it actually took me getting fired to realize I hate this job. I have the devil wears Prada as the boss. I'm so unhappy. Like, why am I wasting my life in this job? I mean, I believe it was divine intervention that came and pulled me out of that job and said, you know what? Nope. You're going to go a whole new direction, and you're going to start your own company.
Yeah. Well, brilliant. And that's it. I mean, a lot of people, sometimes they get turned down and then all of a sudden, they just like hide and, say, hey, they didn't want me, they didn't accept me. And then other people like, there's so many stories, J.K. Rowling, J.R. Tolkien, there's so many people that just got turned down, for writing books. They told them they weren't going to be good. Someone told the Beatles will never get anywhere. So, but then they use that power, that negative energy and transformed it into something amazing. So
Exactly.
you then all of a sudden decided to become an entrepreneur. Okay, what were you going to do? What did you decide to do?
Well, it's funny that you asked that as well, because my background is in fashion design, evening wear, and I went into a whole new industry and started my own company. And so what happened is that the story behind it is that while I was at the design company, I ended up meeting a friend of mine at our sister company. And she became, well, a very close friend of mine. And we actually, it's funny enough, we got let go 2 weeks apart, and misery loves company. And so we bonded over the fact that we've got the Devil Wears Prada as the boss, as bosses, and that, it's such a toxic place. But she was a social media influencer. And she ended up exposing me to the whole world of influencer marketing, because I had never been exposed to that before. And so we're both unemployed. We're both like, what the, we're both unemployed. But I was even more unemployed than she was, because she was an influencer. And as I was numb, lost, in confusion, trying to figure out, what to do with my life, she would take me to these different events. And I noticed, which was funny, was that my middle child tendencies were coming out at these events. And the reason I say my middle child tendencies, just my natural ability of meeting the brands, making these great contacts with the brands, learning what are the brand's goals, and then also learning what are her goals. The two have very different but also similar goals, and then acting as a natural connector.
And that's it. I think a lot of the times, and look, I understand that some people don't have that gift. Not everyone's a middle son, not everyone's is extrovert, but you looked at something that was there, and obviously I suppose when you started it's a very different world to what it is now, because it's just growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, for sure.
But what an exciting project, and what a great way to kind of reinvent yourself and do something completely new. So then the idea around this was, okay, so you have these brands, they need exposure. You have these guys that are influencers that have a reach. You connect them, and you're good at having those conversations. So how did it start? What happened? Because obviously from there, you've managed to grow into something pretty phenomenal, where you're working with amazing people. And I get what you do, because at the end of the day, it is a service. It's something whereby, these influencers, which at heart have the best intentions and want to share things that they're passionate about. Mm-hmm. And also the brands that have a message, something where they appreciate the importance of reaching more people and connecting at a deeper level.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I will say, one thing that's really been, it's been really cool to see is that brands, they have a lot of different goals right now, especially as what we're going through right now. But brands, not all the time, brands' number one goal. Yes, don't get me wrong, their goals are sales, and that's important. But also a lot of brands have some powerful messages to give out, to social good, some really powerful messages, and they need agents. They need brand advocates like influencers who beautifully align and have the same mindset, the same, and also to carry out and expose these beautiful goals, these beautiful messages.
So what type of brands are you working with now? And I want you to explain a little bit more about your company in the process, please. So what kind of brands are you working with, and what kind of influencers are you working with? And I know it's very varied, but just give us kind of like a feel and an idea so people can understand a bit deeper.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm working with a lot of different health and wellness brands. I'm working with home, children's, brands. I'm working with fitness brands. I'm working with food, beverage brands. And then just recently, which I'm excited about, is I started to work with coaches. Now, coaches who, life coaches, speakers, experts, thought leaders. And I'm starting to work with these brands. And the reason I say they're a brand is because, yes, they do have a brand platform. I also am working with them as influencers as well. So it's a two-part. I'm working with them to build their own influence as, and then also influence as a brand themselves, as a coach, coaching brand, a speaker, and so forth.
So I think that's one of the things that I find it interesting. I mean, within the personal professional growth industry as such, you know, the coaches, the trainers, and a lot of the people out there. And again, this is, it's not a massive generalize. I'm not intending to generalize here, but I do feel that a lot of people don't necessarily take themselves as brands, you know, and everyone is a brand, you know, ultimately, you know, and I always say to them, look, if you were in a supermarket, what aisle would you be in? Would you be where the expensive champagne is, or will you be with the dollar, you know, kind of sale products are? And that's the fact. The fact is that a lot of people don't see themselves as brands, and they don't understand the power that they have in order to kind of like, you know, really help people if they came across that way. Is that something?
Absolutely. I'm glad that you brought up that point. I'm really glad that you brought that up, because that's absolutely true, is that the coaches are their own brand. You know, because not all coaches are the same and have the same message. You know, each coach has a different type of message, and that's the same as brands too. Not all brands are alike. Each brand has a different type of message or a voice, you know, and so I think it is important for a coach to really harness, you know, figure out what is their brand, you know, and make it very, very, have consistent messaging, and figure out who is their brand, what's their brand platform, and then also what is the specific niche audience that they're looking to get in front of. Because it's true, coaches have a certain type of niche audience that they're looking to get in front of, just like, you know, just like a brand does, where it's like a food brand, or you know, not all food can appeal to everyone. Certain type of foods only, you know, are very niche audiences.
So and I know this is something that obviously you help people and you're educating them with, is the idea around also in using influencers to promote their own brand. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Let's say you're a coach. Let's say you have a product specifically. Well, I suppose part of what you're doing is instead of saying, hey, go and spend all that money on Facebook and Google AdWords and you know, hopefully potentially get some kind of return, use some of these influencers so other people can buy into what you're doing. Because if it's coming across from someone that has a good following and has a good ethos, people are probably going to be more inclined to use your services than maybe a cold advert or message on social media. Is that part of it?
You said it so beautifully. You said it so perfect. That's exactly it. You nailed it on the head. And it's true, because I always say you can't be the only one tooting your own horn. And a lot of coaches don't get that. A lot of coaches don't realize that, you know, you need to partner up with a brand advocate, or with an advocate who is saying, oh, I took Bernardo's, you know, had a 1-hour coaching consultation with him, and he in 1 hour did X, Y, and Z for me. And he just completely shifted my mindset, and he helped me, you know, see that this is where my business can go. And that's what you need. That's what coaches need. So they can't be the only ones, you know, singing their own praises. They need a third party.
Yeah. Well, look, that's what I think is so great about what you do. And that's one of the reasons when, you know, so Adelaide signed up to speak at the Best You Expo. She was going to have a booth there at our live event. And it was only when I started checking your profile, because I tend to obviously go through everyone that's going to get involved and speak. And I saw what she did, and I thought, well, this is really exciting. It's very interesting, because I know there's a lot of companies out there, but we've never actually had, you know, a company that does this. So obviously, potentially, I thought, well, you know, there could be a great partnership opportunity here. And that's kind of what I think you do, and which obviously we're enhancing now, So Adelaide now and her company Twillo is now involved in the Best You Virtual Expo in LA and in Dallas. She was originally going to get involved in Dallas only. But kind of what we're exploring here, which is what she offers, which is partnerships. It's about partnering up with people. And obviously, when again we started looking at all the people that she represents and the companies and the brands that she represents, well, I saw automatically that there's synergy, because we could be a platform for them, and then on the other hand, we could collaborate together. So it's that working relationship, and that's one of the things that I always say to people that are trying to stand out. It's very difficult to do it on your own, and why would you do it on your own? This makes much more sense to me.
Exactly. And you can go way much further when you're partnering up with others that are helping to push you forward. There's no need to do it alone. There's just no need to do it alone. And so I love that.
So let's discuss. So we're very excited. We're going to have you at the Best You Expo. We're going to have you very busy throughout the whole week, doing all sorts of things. So tell us a little bit about kind of the clients, people that you're going to be bringing forward, recommending. Don't have to go into specifics, but you can tell us kind of who they are, what they do, and then what you're going to be sharing. Because I want people to know what you're going to be sharing, because hopefully they'll be listening to this and they'll be able to join us.
Absolutely. When you're talking clients, are you talking the influencers?
Yeah, or the brands that you're working with, yeah.
Or the brands I'm working with. I'm gonna talk about. I've got some influencer brands that in a lot of different categories. One is very niche. It's for infertility, women that are struggling with infertility. That's a huge issue right now, and there's a really strong influencer out there that she is her own brand. She's a doctor, but she's got a really powerful story to tell. So I'm actually excited about that. Then another is health and in the health and wellness with yoga, breathing, and meditation. I think that's huge. And that is, especially right now with the craziness of that we're going through with this world. I mean, it is crucial for meditation, deep reflection, really taking that time to slow down. And so I think I'm excited about that. And then also I'm very excited about, I've got a life coach that's coming on board that's helping entrepreneurs maybe that are starting out their business and really getting to the next level of their business, scaling their business. A lot of times we haven't, a lot of new entrepreneurs, especially myself when I was first starting out, I had this really great idea, this really strong idea, but it was more of a glorified hobby almost. And, glorified hobbies are great for a time being, but also you need to have metric goals. You need to have, a strong vision, metric goals, where you want to be in 6 months, 8 months, 2 years down the line. And this is the coach to really help you with that.
Well, that's exciting. I mean, I've seen a lot of the influencers that you're bringing forward, and these are people that obviously have tens of thousands of followers, but they've also got a great, good, strong, credible message, So we're very excited to have them there. So look, come and check whatever Adelaide's going to be doing there. Some of our influencers, I think you're going to have a panel as well, where we're going to have some open conversations around these things throughout the whole week. So what's changed, if anything, for you personally and professionally with this little thing we've had going around for the last 3 or 4 months?
This little thing, I love that this little thing called COVID-19. This little thing. I love that you said it.
Well, you've got to laugh, haven't you? Because I mean, it's just kind of like the world is just
comic relief, right? Better laugh than cry. That's right. A lot has changed. Okay, I could talk hours and hours about this, so I'll try to be short. One thing that has changed is I'm really, for myself personally, I'm learning to be more authentic. I believe authenticity is the best gift I can give to the world. Now, I am a natural salesperson, so sometimes with salesmen, we've got a positive, but we've also got, a negative, in the sense that we can get real full of it and just all big talk. And sometimes we're missing that authenticity piece and that element. So this has been the time for me as, the influencer of my own brand to be as authentic as possible with the struggles that I've been going through, whether it's in the past or now. Also, I've been also relaying that same message on to my influencers. Now is not the time to necessarily, hold up a product and say, this is the best Coke, this is the best drink I've ever had, buy it, #ad. It's not the time to be super salesy in your face, but it's the time to be authentic, open, and real with your audience, because that's what attracts people. That's what ends up happening is the right people end up really being attracted to you as an influencer, to you as a brand, and then wanting to partake in your services. So that's what I would say. That's what's changed. That's what's changed in a nutshell is just being more real, more authentic. A lot of people, are really, really, really struggling. And so we don't need this whole fake influencer world that once was, we need genuine conversations around issues that truly matter. That's what I'm doing for myself. And that's what I also am encouraging my influencers to do as well.
Well, that's great. And I'm a massive fan of authenticity and being truthful and honest and congruent with your message. I think you can catch obviously someone that's full of it quicker than you can catch a lot of other things. So I think it's important and I think it's necessary. Listen, you've always come across very authentic to me, so there's no doubt that you are. So I'm not sure how much has changed in your life in particular, but from what
I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you saying that.
It comes across the same as energy comes across. I think a lot of times you can feel good energy, or you can feel negative energy. So look, what's next for you? So apart from obviously building your company and growing and expanding and reaching more people, what's next for you? What is exciting in the future for you?
Before COVID, and also during COVID as well. So it hasn't changed that much, but before COVID, I was very, very, very excited about building up, being a speaker and going to different stages, to share my message around the country. In all honesty, I don't know the future, and I don't know when the next time I'm going to be back on a stage is. I'm hoping sooner than later, but I just don't know. So things have had to change a little bit in the sense of now I still want to be the speaker of my brand, very much so, but speaker of my brand has to look a little differently now. And it looks differently through online summits, through webinars, and through video. And so I've really been focusing and honing in on my video skills.
Well, look, it's kind of an essential one. I mean, I think for us, obviously, being a company that was pretty much 90% of our revenue, 95% of our revenue was around live events. It definitely has been a wake-up call. We were already transitioning. We had the Best You Online. We were looking and exploring the Best You TV. We were exploring the idea of the Best You Store. What we've done is we've had to implement these things now. So, the TV is going to be a reality in a couple of weeks. The store is now up and running. But also the virtual, I've always wanted to stream the events. But I'm finding it surprising. So we're obviously presenting the expo virtually in a format that is different to a lot of the things that we're seeing out there. That's why we're going for 7 days instead of 2 days, because, being an expo, I think kind of what we want to do is give people, the possibility of coming and going as they wish when they want to, and then you can still attend and see a recording of someone that you couldn't see, because you can't ask someone to sit down for 2 days just because you want them to.
Good point.
It's very difficult.
And I'm glad, excuse me for interrupting, I'm glad that you bring that point up, that you can't expect someone to sit down for 2 days, because Oh, I think that, you know, event planners at times, or those that put on these massive expo events, we forget that we, you know, especially this this generation, we have very short attention spans. It's a struggle to sit down for 2 straight days, take all the notes, listen to one speaker after the other. So your new pivot, the shift with the online booths and the expanding over 7 days, Bernardo, I think that is brilliant.
Yeah, thank you. I hope so. I mean, I think I've normally, with love to my team, you know, because a lot of the times they're saying, oh my God, what does Bernardo come up with now? Because I'm always dragging, I feel like I'm dragging them, you know, so I have to convince them.
Up with now? A whole new idea. I love it.
I know, what does he come up with now? But no, there's science to my madness. And I do know that the expos will grow exponentially. I mean, right now, with the fact that we've got LA, Dallas, now, then after Dallas, we're going to have Dubai, which is just announced.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
We're going to have also Miami in January, and then London. You know, we've got now 5 locations. I have no doubt that they're going to grow each and every one exponentially. But the fact is, we're going to have all sorts of activities happening throughout the week. And that was kind of one of the things that I wanted to talk, and we'll continue to talk, is we want to have activities. So we want to have people learning how to dance, you know, do yoga, meditation, the same as you would do at the expo. We want to expand it throughout the 7 days. So we say, okay, where can I go? Where are things happening? Oh, it's happening here this week. So that's what we're putting together. But you know what? I am surprised to see that there's still a lot of people, and me having run live events, and I love live events, there's nothing like it. I'm still finding it surprising that so many people are still trying to, oh, no, but I want to be live. Well, I know you want to be live, but it's not going to happen anytime soon.
I know.
I just don't see it happening. So people say, no, I don't want to do virtual. Well, if you don't do virtual, no one's going to see you.
Good. And if you don't do virtual, you're going to be sitting at home. Nothing's going to happen. Yeah, you need that. Good point. Yeah.
You need to adapt quickly. So I'm quite surprised to see how many people just want to go back into the big rooms, and I can't see it happening this year. And I think also it's going to take the same as this has been a big mind shift for everyone. It's going to be another mind shift. I mean, look at all the slack that, for example, Disney got because they were thinking of opening. Everyone said, "Oh my God, how can you open?" So
actually, it is, and then that's a great point too. Is that this whole time has been a massive mind shift for us all. I mean, sometimes we can be so stubborn in our thinking that this is the right way, this is the way it has to be, this is the only way for me to be successful, the only way. And you know, this whole COVID thing is a wake-up call. You know what? Maybe what we thought was so right in the end, maybe it's not. Maybe there's another way, another path to take.
Well, it's this whole thing. And look, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I love live events again, but you know, you look at all the travel expenses, the flight, the accommodation, the time that you're technically wasting in all these things. Now, you know, people all of a sudden, oh, you know, so you couldn't teach kids at schools. All of a sudden, everyone's being taught at schools. You know, you couldn't do this. You couldn't teach yoga, dancing lessons. Yes, you can. So yeah, it's a new reality. So anything you would like to leave us with, and also please tell us how people can find you and connect with you.
Absolutely. I'm one thing I didn't mention earlier that I'm really excited about is I'm excited to work with coaches to help them build their brands and to help them build their credibility and their influence. And that to me is just really exciting. And the reason I'm so passionate about this is because I didn't mention this earlier, but after I got fired from my job and I was just so lost and confused, I actually ended up hiring a life coach. And my life coach was the one that was putting a ton of pressure on me to start my own company. And, you know, because of insecurity and, you know, just, oh no, doubts, I kept saying, no, stop. I can't do it. But he was the one that believed in me, saw something greater in me that I didn't even see in myself. And that's how I ended up. Then, you know, I was like, maybe he's on to something. Maybe I need to take this, give it a shot. And so that's how I started my own company. And so I tell that story to say, though, that like, I believe in life coaching. I believe in coaches because I had a huge mentor coach in my life to start my own business. And so I want to give back to the coaches. And this is the way I give back, is by helping you guys, helping the coaches build your influence, build your credibility. And I do that by partnering you up with the right micro partnerships.
Well, that's what people need. And I think, unfortunately, and I do see this as well, that I think a lot of the life coaches need a life coach. And it's true, because
there we go.
It's true. I've seen so many people, I've had people that wanted to get involved, speaking, exhibiting, and say, look, there's an investment, $1,000, $2,000. Oh, I can't really afford it. Or it's not the right time, maybe next year. And all they do is they're talking to their clients. Think big.
I know. I love that you said that. I loved it. And, I am huge on this. I need someone to hold me accountable so that I can practice what I preach, because it is so easy to get up there and preach, do this, do that. I need a life coach. I need an accountability partner to say, hey, Adelaide, you told your clients to invest in themselves. So why are you not investing in you? That easy. Why are you not investing in you? So I like that. Life coach just need a life coach too.
Absolutely, think big. And then I struggle with a lot of them that think so small, don't take action, and it's only by taking action that things can happen. So Adelaide, how can people find you?
Absolutely, yeah. So please, you can find me. I'm always on social media on Instagram, so you can find me on Instagram. So. Yeah, right. I would hope so. Seriously, at Twillo Brand Influencers. Also, shoot me a message on Instagram. Shoot me an email. I'm always on email. Adelaide, like the city in Australia. So Adelaide at twilloevents.com.
Brilliant.
Email there. Yep. Thank you, Bernardo. I've really enjoyed this talk.
No, so have I. Thank you so much. And you're a breath of fresh air. Very excited and working with you, and looking forward to for you sharing some great ideas at the expo with you and your influencers and your brand, and well done and everything you've done so far.
Well, I really appreciate this time, and I'm excited. Yes, I wanted to be on a stage, but you know what? I'm just as excited for this new opportunity of a virtual expo. I think the possibilities are limitless with this new direction, and that's exciting to me.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. So am I. I'm very excited. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for listening, and speak to you soon. Take care.
All right. Talk soon. Have a good one.